rail crossing that has been closed since Corporal Shalit was kidnapped in 2006.
Right.
So there's been absolutely no exports, which completely destroyed the private sector. However, these factories were still standing, and they had the ability to get up and running again if raw materials would have been allowed to enter. But now, as you can see, there's nothing left. We are going to be stopping to speak to one of the ice cream and biscuit factory owner. This has been a family business of his for 30 years. His name is Dr. Yasser. We should also meet the chairman of the Palestinian Federation of Industries up here as well. Sir, I also just wanted to introduce them to Khalid. He's the disaster
Nice to meet you.
management.
Thank you for your work.
This is Congressmen Ellison.
So did the bomb get into the ceiling then?
Yeah.
How did you possibly put this? Looks like a nursery.
Yeah, this is the physiotherapist department.
Here we have physical therapy and here psychosocial play therapy place for the children.
Could you say that again? It was what?
This is a play therapy for psychosocial program. So we have this part belong the hospital, other for the family club, which is usually we bring the family, the kids come here for the war, and they insist to use the theater, to use the places which they are used.
So this what I'm looking at here, this destroyed area, what we would call daycare for the staff. This is where the staff
Yes,
brought their
yes.
children
Yeah.
while they worked.
Yes, instead of to go out, so we prefer to have a place for them instead to go every 2 or 3 hours out.
And you had an art exhibition at the time it was hit. Here's the sign.
No. This is after they are insist because always we have many activities here.
After the attack, you had an
Yeah,
art
they
exhibition.
come and they insist to do.
In the rubble, they made this beautiful art exhibition because this was a place of culture, and they didn't want
Culture
that
and,
to stop being like that. So they did it amongst the rubble, and these are the pictures that you're seeing are remnants from that exhibition. It was really beautiful. It was really moving.
You see here the fire after one month.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody play in the sand. So
You smell the burning.
Yeah.
The charm.
And what was here, doctor?
this is the same building, but from this side, you see, it's
For
completely.
purpose of this, would you be kind enough to just briefly repeat what you said earlier about the kind of checkpoints medical staff, non-doctor medical staff have to go through and how long it takes them to queue up and get through?
Yes, well, there are some things that are called terminals, and there are some things that are called checkpoints. So, if we look up here in the north right here, this checkpoint here, this is the Kalandia checkpoint. That's the only checkpoint we, the medical staff, are allowed to come through. But that's not really a checkpoint. That's a terminal. You have to walk through it. You cannot drive your car in. You have to get a taxi up to the terminal. You go in. You are strip searched, you go through metal detectors, you have to take everything off, queuing behind hundreds and hundreds of workers of all trades, and there is absolutely no sense of emergency in that. And then you go on the other side of the terminal, then you pick up another cab or another vehicle.
How long does this take?
This take, on average, and I have it in the presentation, no less than 90 minutes. Today, for example, my staff took 2 hours to get through this terminal.
And every non-physician staff, nurses, radiologists,
Therapists,
technicians,
everyone.
therapists, each and every day.
Have to do that.
And if they didn't have to do that, which takes 90 minutes each way,
Yes,
if they didn't have to do that, how quickly could they get here?
they could come between Ramallah and Jerusalem is 18-minute drive.
So an 18-minute drive becomes a 2-hour delay. What is the additional expense if you have to take cabs?
The multiple back-to-backs, because you have to take a cab from the city to the checkpoint, from the checkpoint to the main city, from the main city, then you have to come to the hospital. So this is really quite an expense, and this is also a bigger issue usually for us.
How much would that cost on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, if you take a cab, you want to just come straight, that's about 50 shekels. This is going to be about $10+.
Each day,
Each day.
$10 additional dollars, 2 additional hours,
Yeah.
and the indignities.
And
Because
the
you want to come
indignities.
provide health care to
And the
people.
patient who's waiting for his operation and doesn't know when his surgeon is going. You have a doctor who does this every day from Bethlehem. From the
You do
south.
this trip from Bethlehem every day?
Yes.
How long does it take you, doctor?
At least 90 minutes.
90 minutes. And if it weren't for this system, how long would it take you?
About 25, 30
We wrote David Cohen, who's the Inspector General of Police, because they told us it was the police who did this. Of course, they were playing the game of blaming each other. Then we wrote to Amos Gilad, who's a name I'm sure you're familiar with. We wrote the Israeli peace authorities. We sent another letter to the Director General, Avi Israeli, asking him what happened. We wrote a second letter to the Minister of Health. We wrote the Miliband, the British Foreign Minister, who was also involved, and of course your letter to Secretary Rice.
All the while, this entire time, every single day, all this expense, all this delay.
Yes.
From July, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, after all this pressure, the Israelis proposed what we call the non-solution. And the non-solution was, the previously easier arrangement will be restored only to the physicians. So now the physicians will have a permit, and the permit has a big stamp on it that differentiates them from the other hospital staff, and those physicians can come through any checkpoint in any car, just like it was before. But the more than 900 essential hospital staff working in 6 hospitals with 3 shifts were given another arrangement, and that is to pass only through the Columbia checkpoint or Khel Tum checkpoint, only on certain pre-registered buses, only on certain pre-registered drivers, only with certain pre-registered companions who are security checked, and only during the hours of 7 to 9. And we still felt that this was a positive improvement, because the difference now is they could be on a bus. Since that day, and until this day, we have presented all of this to the Israelis, and this arrangement which they proposed, which we were not accepting anyway because it was really not a good solution, even that has not been implemented.
Would you say that this is a typical grocery store for Jabalia camp, Imad?
Yeah, this is one of the stores, grocery stores in Jabalia camp that my.
How does he get the supply for the store?
In fact, we have 2 resources of getting the food supply. The first one is through the terminals, Kerem Shalom terminals, in the last
With Israel.
opening
From
in
Israel.
From Israel, that after the war, humanitarian access was approved by the Israeli government for the people, and you could see some food commodities, some stuff which was not available in the last 3 years, and now started to be available due to the humanitarian access. In addition to using the tunnels through Egypt, you will see most of these food stuff are coming through the tunnels from Egypt. For example, all these ones coming through Egypt, things. So even this one, if you have this Galaxy, it's coming through Egypt, through the tunnels.
Because through what's allowed to come through Israel is strictly humanitarian, and these are considered luxury items.
Yeah.
And also recently tomato paste has
over
been determined to be a luxury item.
Along with macaroni and lentils.
Exactly. Exactly. You are very well informed, I see.
I would ask him some questions about his what he's getting, from where he's getting his.
Well, can we say, can we thank him for allowing us to visit?
هو بقول لك شكرا كثير انه انت سمحت لنا احنا نزور.
Yeah, شكرا جزيلا. Yeah, أنا اسمي Keith Ellison, and
Brian Baird.
yeah.
If here the goods and the food stuff coming through the normal, the official terminals, Kerem Shalom and others, because the stuff coming through tunnels, the price is up and down.
About the mental situation here in this town, the numbers are talking about between 70% to 94% of children in this town are suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, and people don't understand these symptoms are going to be with children for life. And basically that is the story of issues, what became normal in this town and not normal in any other place now in the country or in the world. For me, when I moved down to 2.5 years ago, the routine was waking up almost every single morning with a collective alarm clock. You'd have the sirens going off from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning, followed by an explosion, thinking that these are the times that children are on their way to the kindergartens, to schools, parents on their way to shop, to work. Those were the times you'd have a direct hit into the town itself. I actually brought my sister, who's a clown therapist, to the kindergartens just to perform in front of kindergarten children. And as we arrived to the kindergarten, the teacher was talking to the children about snails, how they come out in the winter. And the teacher was asking the children, so why do you think a snail has a shell? And all the kids spontaneously answered, so it could be protected from the Qassam.
So, doctor, let me ask you this question. I mean, after a bombing like this, I mean, there's no child in the Gaza Strip who has not been affected. A community of 1.5 million people, 60% are under 18?
Yeah.
50% are under 18. What are the children experiencing? Because everywhere we went today, little kids were following us around. I'm talking about knee-high kids, waist-high kids. What are they dealing with at this time?
I will tell you first, when you speak about injured and killed, we haven't this number who's public, 5,000 for 700 who's injured or 1,500 who's killed. You speak about 1.5 million who's are psychic ill because there is no safe place in Gaza. All the Gaza Strip same as a prison, no place to escape away. So they are taking all stress. I am sure all of them, even I am one of them, who's working, have a post-traumatic stress syndrome. Okay, we face this problem even with my family, with my kids, because all of them they have stress. So you speak about 1.5 million, they have illness, they have psychic problem. Again, with facility present in Gaza is not that big facility. We have this is one of the biggest place. So again, with this population, no place to go.
Yeah.
So I think they will suffer more and more if we not have any solution or help from our friends in the world to solve this problem, to support them psychologically, and by a way which is accepted by community, which is to be with them, not to be a doctor for them.
Doctor, what do you see in children who've been exposed to warfare and trauma like this? Do you see them staying up at night? Do they have problems sleeping? Do they have problems eating? Do they have problems adjusting to school? Do you see bedwetting? What kind of things do you see?
Actually, we have experience, and the children in Gaza, especially Strip, they have experience of what you think from all these type of illness of bedwet, bad mares,
Nightmares,
phobia from everything, phobia to go even inside the home to their
Right.
rooms, they try to escape, phobia from everything, even if any noise happens,
Loud
they
noise.
have a phobia.
Yeah.
Even not loud, even some small sound which is normal, sometimes you find them, they are escape. They are start to behave and to deal in the community with some aggressiveness, because even in their play they will fight or try to find aggressive play. So that's why we are trying. Even yesterday we have a meeting with the committee from psychosocial department in BRCS, and we decided to go for the camp which we made it for the different area who's affected, to support the children and to bring them to normal life with the play therapy, with the normal toy, not with a gun, with the rocket, with the tanks.
Yeah.
We had our bad days, we had our troubles, of course, but this is something out of any imagination. We never imagined that the school will be targeted. Actually, it was early in the morning on the 3rd of January, just the last day of the aerial campaign, one day before the ground operation started. And the first thing I was concerned about is the guard. We have a watchman in the building, and unfortunately he passed away. He was inside the building at the time. Of course, I couldn't come at 2 o'clock in the morning to see the school. I waited till the daylight, and I came the next morning, and it was a shock to me to see this amount of destruction.
Can you recognize this as the school you led for those?
It is my home. This is my second home. This is not just a building. I've spent the last 9 years of my life in this school. I'm the director of the school since day one, and we invested heavily in this school. It's not just the building. We invested in books, equipment, our records, our furniture. Everything is just gone.